Hello, hello everybody. All right, let's see how we can do this. Um, Chanel, let me check my video. It's loading. What is this? Um, okay.
Hello.
Hello, Angela. How you? Waiting for other participant to come. Hmm. Uh, Chanel, I guess that she's not there yet. Let me clean my glasses. What is on my Let's see. Let me see who's there. We have 7 participants. Chanel, Miss Abreu. Let's see who else we have. Este muchacho me dijo que le consiguiera el teléfono para ver si era la farmacia. La farmacia que me mandaba la pomadita que yo le daba para la espalda a esta niña. Ustedes tienen una cajita. Y arriba tiene, yo creo, un número de teléfono. No, pero yo creo que tiene el teléfono ahí.
All right. I think we have, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I think we have few members already. I don't know if we have quorum. Hi, Maria. Thanks, Maria.
Hello.
Yo lo tenía retratado.
See who from, okay, we have Gabriela. Let's see.
Hola.
Hello. Let's see who else is there. So we 3 minutes behind. So let's see. Well, be of this in 10 minutes. So Miriam will be in 10 minutes, but I'm afraid that we're going to start the meeting without her. Is Waldy? Waldy's not with us yet. Let's see. Waldy's there somewhere. Let's see on the panels. We only have Maria. I don't know what happened. Members are late today.
Yo creía que había estado el teléfono. Sí, pero aquí.
So 1, 2, 3. Garbage, Angela. I think that Mariela Lee signed in, but she's not on camera yet.
Yeah, well, members.
I'm not a committee member.
We have the
no,
panel pretty much. But we
yeah, that's fine.
So. All right, so let's call the meeting to order because they will come as we start, and they will identify themselves, I guess. All right, let's find this way out. Yes, well, meeting is called to order. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Florimon, Chair of the Youth and Education Committee. Thank you all for joining us, and on this wonderful meeting, which I call wonderful. I think it's a wonderful meeting, Youth and Education Committee. And for the record, today is Monday, April 12th, and right now is 7:06 p.m. I would like to ask member of the committee to identify themselves for the record, please. Members, identify yourself, please.
Maria, you go first. Seniority first. I'm waiting for you.
I was allowing the beauties to go first.
That's
Maria
okay,
Luna.
anyone, it doesn't matter who go first.
Maria, okay, Maria Luna. Members of the committee.
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Let's see who else we may have. All right. I guess only for now, Gabriela and Maria is the only one that join us. Besides, of course, the attendees and the other side. But remember, it's important to identify yourself. All right. So I think we have a hectic agenda this evening. I want to thank all the panelists, our guests, for volunteering the time and tell us about themselves. Let's go over the agenda quickly. So as you can see, we're gonna have, I guess, 3 guests. We're gonna have, 3 guests. We're gonna have Yolanda, who is the outreach director from the Josephine Herrick photography program. We also have Angela Abreu from the, who is the founder and creative director from Dominican Writer Association. And then into that, we're gonna have also one of our announcer, Anastasia, I guess you pronounce her name Darkowski, but more about that and more details in a few minutes. So I would like to open up, before I open up the floor, I wanted to excuse our colleague, Janice Aquino. She was supposed to join, do the welcoming and co-direct the meeting, but unfortunately she won't be able to join us. So hopefully next time, let's see. But in the meantime, welcome and thank you so much for your time and, for volunteer all your knowledge and all the information you may have for our community and for us as well. So let's welcome our first guest, who is Yolanda Rodriguez. She is the outreach director of the Josephine Herrick photography program. So Ms. Rodriguez, the floor is yours. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, and good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm Yolanda. I'm from the Josephine Herrick Project, and the Josephine Herrick Project is a not-for-profit organization that offers photography classes to underrepresented communities throughout the city. Josephine Herrick was a real person, and she was a photographer who lived during World War II. And what she would do is she would take photographs of soldiers as they were on their way to the war and would give these photographs to their families as mementos of them. And she did this with a group of other volunteer photographers, and her work got the attention of Dr. Howard Rusk, who's now famous for the Rusk Institute. And he approached her and told her, what you're doing is great, and I was wondering if you can join me in using photography as a way for these soldiers who are coming back from the war, who are wounded, to help them to heal. So ever since then, for the last 80 years or so, it's evolved into not only working with veterans, but also working with seniors, with public school children, with adults and children who are physically and developmentally handicapped or disabled or challenged in any way, with the LGBT community as well, with anyone and everyone who came from an underrepresented community. And it's really to use photography as not only a way to learn a new craft, but also to use it as a medium in which they can tell their own authentic stories about their communities, about their lives, about whatever it is that they would like to take photos of. So I'm here tonight to ask your help to see if you can help me to identify, because we work with community-based partners, those organizations that are working with youth who might be interested in these services.
All right. Anything else you want to? This is it. That's very brief. Okay. So yes, Ms. Rodriguez. So your presentation. This is your presentation, right?
This is my presentation. I sent Ebenezer a link to a video, but I'm not sure if we can show it tonight or whether it's possible.
I think yes. I think that we can. If you send to Ebenezer, I'm not sure Ebenezer is in, but you send it to me as well. And I'm going to try to play the video.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, let me just go ahead and look for the video. Just bear with me 1 second, please. Ms. Rodriguez. Just bear with me. Yes.
Hey guys, Waldy's here.
Waldy, yeah, Waldy is our assistant chair. Thank you, Waldy. Okay, thank you for joining us. Okay, so, all right, let's see if we can do the, okay, let's see if we can share now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. Can you see the viewer? Can you see it?
I can see it.
Very good. So,
Free photography and visual storytelling programs. The Josephine Herrick Project works to transform the lives of individuals facing social, physical, and economic barriers in life. JHP partners with schools, human service agencies, healthcare facilities, libraries, and community organizations to deliver customized digital photography courses taught by professional photographers.
Hi, I'm Tom Legoff. I'm one of the teachers, artists here at JHP, and we're on the street today with our middle school project. And I love working with JHP because I get to meet all these different groups of people all over the city. Besides doing the middle school, I also work with some young adults who have autism, and then I work uptown with a bunch of senior citizens who are a bit older, but we walk around and make lots of pictures. And JHP gives me this opportunity to see New York City and to meet all these different groups of people, which I love. Because I love sharing my passion for photography. And, it's something we can all do, and let's guide it and do it. So, love being here.
JHP works with veterans, at-risk youth, individuals with disabilities, and other marginalized populations in and around New York City and state. To run the program, our organization will partner with a community organization in school, a community center, a hospital, or healthcare facility, and senior center. And we work very closely with that organization in order to develop a customized plan around the interest of their population they serve. We bring in teaching artists, regular photography class, and anywhere from 30 days up to regularly to learn how to cameras. They practice recording and images for other photographers and then making themselves. And then program students out to the community where they photo walks so they can explore their surroundings with the camera and also engage with the communities around them. One of our programs that culminate with the public exhibition where students get to share the work that they produce over the course and celebrate and reconnect with their friends, their family, and the larger community. For JHP participants, the camera is a transformative tool, helping them build self-confidence, think creatively and
what happened?
critically, engage with their communities, tell their own stories, and advocate for themselves, affecting change in their own lives and the world around them.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry that you couldn't really hear the audio too well, but basically, it's just, by the way, this was produced by one of our teen students, when he was a student with us. Basically, it's just a message of transforming lives through the medium of photography. And I'm sure all of you, during this pandemic, have come to realize how important the camera in your cell phone has become an important social justice tool. So what we try to emphasize in our courses is that very theme about social justice and how do we see our communities changing, and what are the dynamics in the communities that we see that inform racism and inform social injustices. So those themes are very important when we teach our classes, and I hope that we'll be able to identify any organizations that work particularly with youth, since I'm here tonight, who might be interested in these courses. So does anyone have any questions or?
Yes, yes, okay, and let me go about the order how we ask questions. So we're gonna have members of the committee asking questions first, and then once they finish, so we move to the general public but first, I mean, before the general public, also if we have any board members as well, they will go next, and then the general public. So members, do you have any questions? Maria, you have any questions?
Are we
Hello.
on mute?
Okay, no, okay. I guess she doesn't have any questions. All right, I do have a question. Okay, Gabriela, do you have any questions? Waldy, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
No.
Okay, neither you, Maria, right?
No, I heard the presentation because Yolanda
Yes.
was at the aging committee, so we urged her to come and do the presentation here. So I know, you know, a lot, and I think I'm going to participate also because I love pictures and I love photos and things like that. So I'm glad that you are here, Yolanda.
Thank you, Maria. And, you know, I'm looking forward to hearing back from Fern and
Yes,
Richard
yes,
because we talked
yes.
about doing something at the senior centers.
Right, yes.
So it
yes.
would be great to, you know, I don't know if it's possible to do like an intergenerational class
Yes,
where we
yes,
have
that's
the
what we're gonna
older
do.
adults and youth together, working together.
As a
I don't know,
matter
it's a possibility,
As a
right?
matter of fact, that's going to be one of our programs because we're going to start opening the centers. And that is
Yes.
something that is going to appeal to everybody. So
Okay,
I'm
so-
glad to see you.
Okay, like,
Okay,
nice to see you
so-
too.
I do have a question then. Thank you, Maria. So, Ms. Rodriguez, so have you made this presentation in any public school?
Not yet. I did get a hold of I put an email out to each of the superintendents in each of the boroughs, and I only have back from one. And that was in Queens South. So they're going to try to help us to identify the schools that are in the most needed areas or where they're particularly underserved, where it's very hard to access these types of programs, but not to any particular schools as of yet. I mean, we've worked with schools in the past, of course, and we're working with schools now. But I was hoping that I would be able to do that through the DOE leadership. Why, is there a particular school that you're thinking of?
No, well, that's where I'm going to further my comment. So, yes, I can definitely reach out to some of the school. In particular, I can speak to the superintendent about it, pass along the information. And also, perhaps, maybe we can come up with a group of students and so you can do a presentation, solo presentation just for them alone and their parents as well, in case that any of them decides to join your program. So parents, in case that, you know, may have any question before they allow their children to sign up, you know, they may have questions at least, you know, in advance and so forth. But I think that I can possibly help you with that. I can also put you in contact with District 6. And District 6 is the Community Education Council that also oversees the, or I should say, well, they work close with the district school. And, you know, I can also try to see if I can reach out to them and introduce you to them as well. I think these are the folks that are in contact with all the schools within the district. And I think it would be very productive for both of you, you know, the school and also, you know, for your organization, because I think that a lot of young people can benefit from this program. So,
well, yeah, definitely. And so many thousands of people since 1941, when it started with just veterans and it evolved into other communities. But just to let you know, you can't really apply, like you mentioned, talking to parents and their kids. Families can't really apply for classes or enroll into classes individually like that. They would have to be associated with a community-based organization. So we make the partnership with either the school or the community-based organization. So for instance, Maria, when I was at the aging committee, there were several senior centers that are interested. So that would be the community-based organization that we would partner with, through which the families and their children can take the class.
so what you are saying, or what I'm understanding, is that, let's say an individual student cannot come to your organization and register. They have to come through an organization.
Correct. through an organization or a school or a community center or a senior center or a veteran center or a hospital. So the partnership is between the two community-based organizations, JHP and whatever the other organization is.
So then for that purpose, or take back the idea that I brought up into maybe perhaps coming up with a group of a student in, so you can present them.
Unless
that would not work.
Unless they're connected with a community center, like the senior centers that we spoke to, like that I spoke about earlier with Maria, or if they're connected with any sort of like a YMCA or YWCA or any sort of community-based.
So I got the picture. They have to come from an organization. They cannot come alone.
Right. So the contact is primarily with the community-based organization through which, people can enroll into the course.
I got it. Well,
Yes.
I guess what I will do is just mention the District 6 school. I will mention you and pass along the information, and they will deal then with whether or not they further up the idea. I wonder why in particular. Well, I get these are the way your program is designed, but so where exactly is your organization located?
Well, there's a tiny office in downtown Manhattan on Fulton Street, but since the pandemic, we've been conducting classes virtually online. So if there wasn't a pandemic, and one day I hope there won't be a pandemic anymore, we'll go back to in-person, meaning that whoever is the partnered community-based organization, let's say, for instance, we partnered with Isabella, let's say, we would use their space to conduct the classes in. So because we just have a tiny little administrative office downtown, and then our teaching artists would go to Isabella and they would teach the class there. We have our own cameras, which we loan out to students. They're very sophisticated digital cameras that we loan out to the students that they use to learn about the actual camera and which to use for their photography as well. And then usually courses run anywhere from, like, depending on the community's needs, anywhere from 8 weeks to 16 weeks, like a whole, school semester. Maybe once a week for about 90 minutes each class. And then there's a culminating event at the end of each session, so that students can see their works displayed, like in a gallery or museum, or even in their own community.
I see. All right. Well, I think definitely I have better idea now. And my very last question is that those organizations that might decide to, like Isabella, for example, is there any particular requirement in terms of the age of the student that may decide to join the your program?
Not at all. It depends on, well, we mentioned senior centers, we mentioned Isabella, so the population there tends to be older. But no, we have worked with students from the age of middle school, because younger kids, like elementary school kids, sometimes can't handle a very sophisticated camera, or they're not really as prepared to take a photography class. So anywhere from middle school age to as old as you want, we've had our students.
So what is the number of approximately of a student that you are personally working with?
You mean how many students are we working with now?
Yes.
Well, we have right now, I think, let me see, about 10 virtual classes going on right now. In each of those classes, there are about 8 to 15 students. And that's a wide range again. These are students, people who are coming from the National Alliance on Mental Health, who are dealing with mental health issues. We have a high school where we have a lot of refugee students and immigrants' children. We're working with the Harlem Vet Center, where we have a lot of veterans, of course. We're working with seniors at NYCHA housing. So it's a wide array of people and populations.
Okay, well, I think you answered all my questions. I don't know if anybody else probably have any questions. Let's say board members. Do we have any board members join us? Let's see.
Marielle here. I had a question, but Ms. Rodriguez answered it, so thank you.
You're welcome, Marielle. Yes.
Okay.
How you doing, Marielle? Yes.
I'm well, thank you.
What was the question and what did I answer?
Sure. No, so my question was regarding age, kind of, the appropriate age range for the students.
Yeah.
Just because I sit on the school leadership team at one of the local schools where my son attends. It's an elementary school, and so
Okay.
I could see obviously why, if it's a very kind of, big advanced camera can be a little difficult for fifth graders possibly to manage. So certainly understand the reasoning. Thank you.
But definitely keep us in mind, when your family, your child gets a little older.
Certainly. Thank you.
But yeah, it's great to be able to give youth a chance to express themselves creatively, right? Especially now when they're dealing, and we're all dealing with so many challenges that weren't there last year or the year before last. And unfortunately, the pandemic has really defined how we live our lives, right? And how we perceive things maybe for the next, I don't know how many years. So it's a wonderful way not only to be creative, but also to express those feelings visually and tell your own authentic visual story about what's going on in your life and in the lives of the people who live in your community.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Marielle, she's still with us, yes? Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, good. So, who else? Well, I guess there is nobody else. So with questions, so I guess we're going to move. And Ms. Rodriguez, I want to thank you deeply for taking the time to share, this wonderful information. I certainly will follow up with District 6, and I will do my best to connect you with the superintendent office.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Ms. Rodriguez.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too, my dear.
Good night. Okay.
You're welcome to stay throughout the meeting if you want to witness all the presenters' information, just in case.
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Yes, let me just address a little, I guess, inquiry that I have with Chanel.
Yes.
Yes, we have Miss James, members, Miriam James. I have to forward my panel, invitation. It's a way that you can change her name, because it's appeared to Faye Florimon. In reality, the one wait a minute, she raised her hand, so that means she has a question. So, but if you can in the meantime change to her name, that would be much appreciated. Yes, Miriam, you wanna identify yourself first, just for the record, and go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Miriam James. I have a question about the photography, and how would I get in touch with her to come into the NYCHA Community Center?
Hi, Miss James. This is Yolanda. So yeah, I put my contact information in the chat. Can you see it? Call me or email me. No?
Yes, I can definitely send it to you, Miriam. I will send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
I will put you in contact with her. Let me take note of that.
Okay.
By the way, folks, Callis, any one of you, except for Gabriela, if you wish to take some note and send it to me, would be much appreciated. Okay, yes, median, okay. Okay, now, thanks again, Ms. Rodriguez. And so let's move now to our next guest. We have Ms. Angela Abreu. She is the founder and creative director of the Dominican Writer Association. Ms. Abreu, thank you so much for joining us and graciously, accept our invitation. I'm sure that the information you have to share, hopefully will enlighten all of us. I personally feel very curious and eager to learn about, what you've been doing. The same way I feel also with when I hear photography, I say, wait a minute, photography and writing, these are things that definitely we should, bring to the community. So please, the floor is yours, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's my pleasure to be here and share some information about what our organization is about. So Dominican Writers Association was founded in 2015. It is established in Washington Heights. We do not have an office. I run it completely mobily. But we do have a wonderful website that you could visit and explore everything that we have to offer. The reason why I started Dominican Writers Association was because as a young college student, I am of Dominican descent. I live in a predominantly Dominican community. I never was exposed to books by Latino authors, let alone Dominican authors. And, being a 21-year-old that kind of like went, poof, how is this possible? That me being an avid reader and spending so much time in libraries and whatnot, no one ever shared with me books where I would see myself reflected as a woman of color, a child of color, where I would see my brown face in a book cover, or read about characters and that I could relate to. So that really, really sat with me and it bothered me. And I went about doing my own research and finding that Julia Alvarez existed, and later Angie Cruz and Juno Diaz and so on. But when I Googled it, I only found about, I would say, 4 Dominican American authors that were active here in the US in the creative genre, because we are mostly focused on authors who are in the creative genre of fiction, creative nonfiction, and poetry. And I read all those books. And, when I read Angie Cruz, Soledad, that was everything for me. I did relate to Julia, but Soledad did it for me because it was about a young woman, a college student coming back home from college, having to deal with her mother who had a nervous breakdown and all the demons that her mother was fighting with. So after that, me being a poet myself and a writer, I established a sort of like a poetry collective that where I used to host open mics from my apartment in the Bronx. And then I would host them from one of our local businesses here, which was Apartment 78. We would host open mics every Thursday. And I was meeting so many Dominican writers. And me being a proud Dominican, I would always say, why doesn't anyone know about this person? And I made it my business to share who these people were. And one of those people was Elizabeth Acevedo, who, if any of you know who she is an award-winning poet, Dominican American young woman. And when I met her, she was still doing poetry. And she was one of those people that I said, why doesn't anyone know who this woman is? And ever since then, we have made it our mission to share the works of Dominican American authors. Currently, we're working with 2 schools within the Uptown Manhattan, which is the Juan Pablo Duarte School and the Community Health School on 158th Street. We run 2 book clubs for the Community Health School for the middle school and the high school students, where we are exposing them to Dominican authors and other diverse authors that they should be reading. And for the Juan Pablo Duarte School, for the past 2 months, we've been bringing in authors for the students to read to the students. So that's been a wonderful initiative that has started this year. As part of that, we're also setting up 12 libraries in their classrooms, in 12 of their classrooms where it would be Dominican writers, Dominican authors. The initiative is called Little Dominican Readers. And my mission is that, you know, in as many uptown schools that I could get my hands into, I want to make sure that there's a Dominican library, so that our kids can read our stories and, you know, feel inspired and see themselves reflected in our stories. We also help them publish books because we also publish. We have a small press. And with the Juan Pablo Duarte as well, we assisted in publishing the kids' poetry book that they put out every year. The book is called I Am. And this year we were happy to assist with the editing and the publishing of that poetry collection for the children. And we also host writing workshops for kids. And this is in partnership with the schools and anyone who's interested in bringing us into their school and hosting these programs. Currently, everything is being done virtual because of the pandemic, but we hope that one day we would be able to be there in person and host our programs. Aside from that, Dominican Writers Association, we hosted our first Dominican Writers Conference in 2019 in City College. We were sponsored by the MFA program there. And it was an opportunity for me to show the community how many of our Dominican folks were out there in the field of screenwriting and graphic novels and every aspect of writing. We had about 300 people in attendance. And it was a wonderful Dominican get together, I would say. If you ever been, well, I'm pretty sure if any of you are Caribbean or Dominican and you ever been to a family party, you know what that looks like. That's kind of what our conference looked like, but with writers and books and lots of books. It was in honor of the writer Josefina Baez. Adriano Espaillat came through and gave a speech, and many people from the CUNY DSI as well were there to support. Also, if you look on our website, we host book clubs. Every month, we have a Dominican Studies book club where we share with our generation books about our history so that we could learn it, because I myself, being brought to this country at the age of 3, I was not, you know, my mother never shared our history with us. I learned things because I end up picking up a book out of curiosity. And I noticed that a lot of our followers on social media also felt the same way that I did. So we started a Dominican Studies book club where we have a professor from CUNY host the workshop, the book club every 2 months. And we also have another book club where we choose a random Dominican author every month to discuss their books. We also offered writing workshops, and we make sure that we offered writers the tools and the resources that they need to get published, whether it is the traditional route by getting a literary agent, or whether they decide that they want to self-publish within the American market, because we also come across many Dominicans who are still publishing in the DR, but that is not my space. I was raised here in New York, and this is the space that I move in. This is the business that I know, the business of books here in the US. And that's, you know, part of our mission to also assist our writers. So there's the readers section, right? The children's, and then there's the writers as well, who we support. So I think that's about it for
your end.
For my presentation. I probably have other things, but if you ask questions, let me know.
It will come to you definitely. Thank you. So again,
Actually, I was looking at the chat, and I think there is some question remaining for Yolanda, but we're going to concentrate on you, and then I will go back to Yolanda Rodriguez for a second. Megan Bernes has a question. I think it's, yeah, Bernes. Megan Bernes has a question. But anyway, Caris, do you have any question for Miss Abreu? Yes, Maria.
Oh, many questions, Miss Abreu.
Ya.
So sometimes we say Abreu.
Abreu, como
Miss Abreu.
quiera, como desee. No me ofendo. That's American way.
Have you been in touch with the Word Up group on
Yes.
Amsterdam Avenue?
Veronica is on my board.
Okay, I just spoke with her a little while ago. I was in a meeting with her.
I have Word Up and I are very, very close friends and partnerships. We do a lot of things together.
Okay, great. When they started on Broadway and 177th Street, my mother, who made us read every day, every night, a little paragraph, because she was one of those people who said, I cannot talk too much, you can read. And she made us read aloud. I don't know, are you familiar with Mary Gattero? She was also a great writer, Dominican writer.
I launched Narrativas de Bachata for Marieli.
All right, okay. One of the things that is very painful for us Dominicans, around 1980 something, the president of the Dominican Republic at that time was Jorge Blanco, donated a large sum of money in dollar, not in peso, to have a Dominican library here. It started, and I think it lasted about maybe less than a year. Well, the whole thing was fizzled up. And I think that you are doing a fantastic, job and work of bringing up the necessity of giving, opening up for the Dominicans writers. There are many great writers out there. Unfortunately, there is a very little support for them. So I am, I just enjoy listening to you. Please continue. It's really something that we have, some of us that came here 1,000 years ago, we put the foundation, but it's really the opportunities of people like you, young people, to carry on, making sure that our writers, are given that opportunity. And I think that, I'm just so glad to hear you talk about. I'm glad to hear Yolanda Rodriguez also about the works and the programs that the young people should take the leadership now and continue. So because we Dominicans have a lot to say, a lot to write about. It's not just like about the flag and Juan Pablo Duarte or Luperón and things like that. There are great minds in our in our Dominican ethnicity that should be able to put us at the front line of great writers from Latin America. So thank you. Now let me just say, Faye, I am going to excuse myself. I don't know if I just got a call from the Dominican Republic. A cousin of mine died from COVID. We knew he was gonna die. He was on respirator. They just called and said that he passed. And my sister's in the kitchen crying and doing a lot of crazy things. So please excuse me.
I'm sorry.
It's very hard, but it's happening all over. All right. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Marika, and I'm sorry. We will be
all right. It's all right. We weren't prepared for this Zoom, but it just happened about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, dear.
Bye.
Bye, Maria. Okay. So sorry about that. So anybody else? Wilders, do you have any questions for Ms. Abreu?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So anybody else? Let's see on the chat.
I was wondering if I can make a comment.
Absolutely, Ms. Rodriguez. Yes.
To Angela. Yeah, Angela, I'm a published and produced playwright. And so when you speak of, Why doesn't everyone know about this writer? I have been living that for many, many years. And I used to work in book publishing, and there was, and there's still, I hate to say this, but there's still that systemic racism within these walls that makes it so difficult for someone to get published. I mean, you can name on one hand the number of playwrights of color who have appeared on Broadway, or you can name on maybe two hands how many people of color have been published in the last 2 or 3 years by a major publishing house. I mean, I remember hearing stories where a publisher will hold up a manuscript written by a person of color who happened to be a Mexican American writer and say, why do we have this here? This was, Puerto Ricans don't read. She got the nationality wrong. And she also, I mean, that's the kind of racism that unfortunately still exists, whether it's in book publishing or whether it's in motion pictures or screenwriting or television, etc. And people talk about, you know, increasing the diversity in these areas, but it's still so difficult. I've met people who work for television or who write screenplays for movies, and they're just struggling so hard to even get just one of their sentences, one sentence, perhaps including somewhere. So unfortunately, you know, it's something that, you know, we're still struggling against. And I applaud you and the work that you're doing and the support that you're getting, because, you know, it's best to work in teams and in collective to really get that point across. But, you know, one of the things that came out of this awful nightmare that we're living in was unveiling or unmasking those inequities, right? And hopefully with that, more people will realize, well, yeah, you have to level that playing field as much as possible because it's been so unequal and so unleveled for centuries. So thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda, for your comment. And yeah, I agree with you. We've been dealing with diversity issues for such a long time. Recently, last year, Lee and Low published a diversity survey that they conducted where, of course, they found out that 76% of the publishing industry is white. So when you have the majority of these, you know, publishing staff members who don't look like you, they're not looking to publish your stories.
Exactly.
You know, and if they do receive your stories from a literary agent, is always questioned, is always, you know, let's revise this, let's edit what I don't understand, let's accommodate the white gaze and the white reader, not understanding that Latinos are a huge population of readers. We are, but they still haven't grasped that.
And, you know, we're also dealing with the racism in our own communities where, you know, I call it the public library desert or the bookstore desert, where you walk into a neighborhood and it's like, where's the closest bookstore? There is none.
Yeah.
You know, and when public libraries are not getting funded, you know, it makes it even harder. So, yeah, a lot of stuff to have to, you know, fix and be able to make it more equitable for all.
Well, I would like to add more to you know, what you both, you know, just saying. But I think there is light at the end of the tunnel, because all this that is happening at national level, all these turmoils, it seems to indicate that I would say perhaps under this new administration seems to taking note of that and taking that not light, but I would say probably very aggressive. And I think that we should see some changes, like more giving more opportunity to minority, to different groups, and so they can also have the opportunity to go through the big door as well. So let's see what happens. So that's why I'm saying that it's still, you know, light at the end of the tunnel. So we should see a lot more changes and more opportunity for other folks as well. So, all right. So yes, I think Gabriela, you have a question. and also Miriam. So Gabriela, you go first.
Miriam was first, I guess.
Miriam was first. Yes, go ahead, Miriam, then. Thanks, Gabriela.
My question to Ms. Abreu is, have you ever thought about partnering up with the African American writers that don't get a lot of don't get published, and the kids and whoever is in your writing classes can learn the intercultural?
Yes, so our programming when it comes to the writing workshop is open to everyone. So our writing workshop, anyone can sign up for them, as well as our book clubs. The only thing is that the books we read are Dominican, and the books we purchase for the children in our school are from Dominican authors. So that readership is focused on the Dominican authors. But when it comes to the other programming, like the writing workshop, our events and whatnot, they're open to everyone. We currently have some writing workshops on our website, like we have one on how to write a picture book, things like that. We have one on how to query a literary agent. So those workshops, they're open to everyone, regardless of race, background, gender, religious beliefs, and whatnot.
Okay, I get that.
There are so many organizations that cater to the African American community, and because they already exist, we share them. So I don't step in that space because they already exist. So we share the work that they're doing.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, wouldn't it benefit for the African American community and the Dominican community to collaborate? There's strength in numbers. It might help get more people of color published.
Yes, I agree with you. And like I said, my consulting is open to everyone. My coaching is open for everyone. It's not just for Dominican writers. So if you are an African American author who wants to publish and you want some insight on how to publish, you just email me and I will talk to you about how to go about doing that.
In other words, it's open to anyone. And yes, I can see the room for collaboration. Yes, I guess that it's matter of how to probably engage into more outreach, aggressive outreach, but definitely yes, media. Well, you represent the Afro American, population. Perhaps now that you get to know Miss Abreu, maybe you want to use your knowledge, your connections, and perhaps put them in contact. I'm willing to help in any way I can possibly,
and I say yes to everybody.
Yes,
which is probably something I shouldn't do, but if you ever want to collaborate or partnership for a workshop, for anything, you just have to email me and let me know what your idea is, and we'll put it together.
I think that would be wonderful. It's something like bringing, especially young people that are inclined into writing, into photography. So because I see both of this field intertwined, So and definitely I think that we can come up with something very productive. That would be a great for our young people in particular. Yes. Yeah. So let's give some thought to this. And Miriam, thank you so much for bringing that idea. Yeah. Okay. It's not like you discovered American tonight, but just a joke.
I know, but what I'm saying is a part of Dominican history is African American history.
Absolutely.
That is what I think to book club on Black Studies.
And to know each other better, to get so we can bond more together than to separate, because that's what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing separate, and it shouldn't be separate.
Mariam,
I don't see it like that, no, baby.
Mariam, I am a community activist. Last year, I spearheaded the protest that took place uptown during the two instances during the first week of June and the second week of June. That was from me. I partner up with about 120 nonprofit organizations to march down to Young North's Way in support of Black Lives Matter, because as Dominican, we are Black. We have that huge understanding, and is also the reason why I created our Dominican Studies book club, so that we also learn about our Black history. During February, we also shared all of the Black history texts that Dominicans should be reading about our history. So I'm with you, Miriam.
Okay. I too am a community activist, and I was there, but I'm just saying it would just help more if we could be more cohesive, and we're not.
I agree with you.
Yeah, Miriam want to see more like aggressive initiative, like, she want to see it right in her eyes. Well, Miriam, sometimes when we want to see certain changes, we have to take the upper hand and start, yeah. So, and I guess that this is an opportunity for you, and you got me, of course. And now that Miss Abreu has clearly, expressed what she's been doing and how willing she also is to move forward with this. So it's just, she's basically sharing that there is room for, to get this done or to improve, I guess, the relationship and, and all the opportunity at the end of the day. Yes.
This is what I do on a daily basis, and and it just seems like it's not moving. So it's okay. All right.
We are with you and we understand very well. Yes. So I think that the next thing, it will be moving forward and perhaps come up with some ideas and work on it. Yes. Thank you, Miriam.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Gabriela.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, both Yolanda and Angela. It's a pleasure to share the gender and many, many things, right? It's always so wonderful to see women empowered. And talking about that, and it's good that you share, Yolanda, about your experience about being a publisher, and then Angela, a wonderful writer, and so more. I think that there's a lot of people in the community that have a story to tell. And that story that they want to tell is not so much about self-enrichment or self-promotion, but it's more to empower other women and human beings, because sometimes life put you in a place that you have to not only survive, but you have to come from the ground and go all the way up to the surface. And even though it probably seems to be easy, it's not. And when you tell that story, that you are pretty much coming from the ashes, and you are becoming into a completely new, human being, even stronger. I am sure that is a lot of people that will identify with that. And sometimes, you have people that they have so much to say, but they don't know how to start. They don't have, they're not a celebrities. They're not necessarily going to go to let's say a popular brand name publisher, because, the person don't have whether the financial, support to do that, or they're not even going to consider that story, because it's not coming from a celebrity, or it's not a fiction, but it's reality. And I'm saying all that to say, and again, I'm talking from myself. It's been a lot of years that I have a story to tell. And to be honest with you, I don't even know how I'm going to, start, but I know that if I'm able to tell that story, and living by example, I am sure that not only women, but I would say people as a whole will probably see things in a different way. So I'm just saying that to say that, like me, I'm sure there's a lot of more people that have a lot of stories to tell. But I would like to really put that in your mind, because sometimes we have the material next to us and we don't even see it. So I just wanted to share that, because I think this will also include kind of what Miriam has been implying, and I completely agree with her, that sense of unity that definitely needs to prevail. The same sense of unity that you need to adopt wherever you are, because even if you are in the Dominican Republic, you're not only interacting with Dominicans. There's other people from other backgrounds and countries and so forth. So, but here you can see that even more, right? Because this is like the United Nations here. We have everybody from all kind of different, countries in the world. So I just wanted to share that, because this is something that has been bugging me for a while, and I'm sure that it's not just me. There's many other people that have a story to tell and probably don't know how to start.
Gabriela, I invite you to please email me so that I could help you start that process, because I am just a tiny bit familiar with your story, but I would love to be the one to help you put it out there.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. And Miriam, let me tell you, we come from, let me tell you, Black has different shades and Dominicans have different shades. But at the end of the day, our blood is the same color. All right? So we brother and sisters, and we are here in this community. We're all fighting for that community. And I agree with you 100%. And probably, I'm sure that there's so many things that we can do together. So I'm just letting you know, because sometimes, I feel kind of a little, well, I'm Black too, what's the problem? I mean, I might maybe be a little, but yeah. So anyway, I'm just a little humor there. So we come in all different shades, but at the end of the day, we are, Dominicans had a combination, a beautiful combination, right? And an African is in our blood. And you can tell that once we start dancing. So I leave it at that.
Our food, our music, everything about our culture.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
The only difference the only difference I see is that we were all let off in different places from Africa. We were dropped off in the Caribbean. We were dropped off all over, but we all came, that's where it came from. That's all I'm saying. And I think everybody needs to know that, but they don't. I talk to a lot of Dominican especially the young men. They don't want to hear it, but it's the truth.
It's the truth, yes.
And they love me for it. Believe me, they do.
All right, let's move to the next question. And thank you. I think that was a good, chat, I should say. Yes, we have actually Gabriela Biel. She had her hands raised for a long time. And I wonder, Gabriela, you want to ask your question?
Yes, I do. Thank you for your time. Actually, it's about the interim Inwood Library and that it is inadequate for our community. We have lost our current library. It is currently being demolished. Construction will take, according to the EDC, at least 2 years. We estimate at least 5. The Donnell Library took 8 years to complete. 5 to 8 years is an eternity. It's a childhood that we're looking at. So the interim library, it's depriving us of a full library. And when you don't have a full library, that hits some groups harder than others. It disproportionately impacts Hispanics and low-income communities and seniors with fixed incomes. It also deprives us of a safe place for our children. I'm a Dominicana, hija de una Dominicana, de un Dominicano. I'm a Dominican woman, daughter of an immigrant. English was not my first language. I learned how to read and write at the pre-K behind the library and by taking books out at the library. I couldn't afford college prep courses. The college prep books that I got at the library. They were part of the stacks. I checked them out while I was there in the dedicated space, dedicated to teens. No one bothered me. 7 days a week, we had services for our community. We had children who were getting in the upstairs children's space, who were getting, who had that space to read. They had that reading space, and there were also children there who were being taught. We're giving classes, remedial reading classes in that space. I saw it with my own eyes. So we're getting a shiny new library, but at what cost? We currently have the grab and go, where essentially you just pick up, check out books, and return them. And this library is inadequate. Why? You go to Yonkers. Yonkers currently has their library open. Kids are going back to school in September. And yet Yonkers has public access computers, 30 minutes per session. They have reading tables. They have express printing. And here's the good part. They have extended Wi-Fi. So 300 feet in front of their library, you have Wi-Fi. We can get that for our community. The interim library can provide that to us. If they install a repeater, rumor has it, $2,000 will get you a repeater, which will extend the Wi-Fi for 27 blocks so that I don't have to stare at people at night, standing at the Dyckman train station using the Wi-Fi because they don't have Wi-Fi at home or they can't afford Wi-Fi. And I've seen people standing in front of the library before they demolished it in the middle of the winter to use the Wi-Fi there. So not everyone has Wi-Fi, not everyone has computer access. You want to get unemployment, what do they tell you? Go online and fill out the form. We need equity of access. We are losing in this game. Here we are, we have at least 27,000 children between the ages of 5 and 18 years in this community. The rate of birth, 4 births per every death. So 2% increase every year of kids. They're not gonna have a library. They can walk a mile or they can take a bus if they have a bus fare or a train fare to go to Washington Heights eventually. But what I'm telling you is we've lost this library. We have an interim library which is not providing our core services. What are core services? Current programming, homework help, ESL instruction, summer reading programs, early literacy programs, immigration help, computer classes. This is just work training. This is just like off the top of my head. So this library, the one that was being demolished, was the de facto library for 11 schools in the area. A few of them have librarians, but we're looking at a community that's 3/4 Spanish speaking. But pre-pandemic, 27% below the poverty level. Student reading levels, not good. And here we are with a teeny tiny library. What's the status of current programming? What's the status of public access to computers? What's the status of the extended Wi-Fi? These are important questions. This is our community center. When summer comes, the old library was a cooling center. It's located, centrally located. Everyone knows the library. You go to Arden Street. Oh yes, the library. That's where I send my kids. People do research there. 2 out of 5 Latin Americans who come to the US, who are US citizens, do not have education above 9th grade. That's a huge number. Even those with professional degrees don't have access to the resources in order to get the licensing here in the States. You take away the library, you take away free resources. I don't have to buy a Starbucks coffee to get Wi-Fi. I have this resource. So we need to push for our community, for us Dominicans, for brown, Black, immigrant, for us, what we're getting. Equity of access. We repeat it again, equity of access. That's what we want. So we need to be up to date. What is happening with current programming? We need to ask New York Public Library. What is happening with the startup date? EDC is telling us at least 2 years. Tell us what's happening with the library. They're currently doing asbestos abatement, brownfield remediation, as in what's underneath there, because that used to be a gas station. Tell us these things. Inform the community. Don't give us these cute little Instagram pics telling us this is great, we're wonderful, you're going to get a shiny new library. That library was given to us. That was common good. That is public space that we gave away. And just so that everybody in this meeting knows, the footprint for that project is going to take IS-52's racetrack and the parking lot. It's going to be huge. And no one is saying boo about it. A costillas de nosotros? No. We have to ensure equity of access. So that's what I want to know from the New York Public Library.
Thank you, Gabriela. Gabriela, we need to leave it as that because the time is up on us, unfortunately. But if you want to say one very last thing to, to your comment, which is so valuable and so important. I really understand vividly what is going on. But if you want to add it out, unfortunately, we cannot prolong the conversation, but I appreciate if you can wrap it up as soon as possible.
What can we do as the Youth and Education Committee to get a commitment from the New York Public Library on these current programming? Who are the community partners? They promised to give this information. Where is it? What's the status of public access to computers? What's their commitment? Reading tables, summer reading programs, homework help, express printing, all of these basic things that other libraries are getting and that will eventually be open to the New York Public Library branches. What are we doing? Because we have a grab and go storefront. It's a storefront. So you go in there, run in, run out, and that's it. It's very cute, but is it fulfilling the needs of the community? And just to remind you, we gave up so much. We gave up so much. We need to ensure we get our money's worth. Do not give in to these developers. I'm sorry to put it bluntly like that, but we need to ensure, because if we don't speak up, that's it.
Yeah.
Do it for your community.
Yeah. So Gabriela, thank you so much. And another thing that I'm doing here is, and I'm going to send my contact information. So you can send me any additional information that you want me to, and when I say that you want me to, meaning, the Untitled Committee, so that we can go and follow up on that, because I'm sure there is other information that perhaps you would like to, share with us, but because of the time it says, and you may not be able to even express yourself in a more, ample manner. But I'm sending my, I'm sending my email, so you can feel free to send me whatever comments or additional information you would like to, to share. I appreciate your comments and anything else that you want to add it up. Yes.
Thank you very much. And thank you for letting me bring these points up. It's so important for our community. We cannot bar ourselves. Yo soy, and just the last point, I am the granddaughter of someone who was illiterate. I was the first one in my family who got a bachelor's. And why? Because I was given access. I was given these free resources. We have to protect these resources. My Dominican grandmother did not have a library. She thought it was the greatest thing to be able to go to a library, read the New York Times, the New York Post for free, to get books for free. It blew her mind.
Wow.
Let's not give up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So anybody else on the panel may have any additional question? Gabriela, you can, let me see, your hands is still up, so you can just lower
There we go.
Yes, appreciate it. That was very, interesting. Yes, and quite important, of course. So I believe that we have, this is for Angela, I think, actually. Let me see if I can see. Angela, can you go on the chat and see? I believe that, let me see, what is her name from the Jumel
I see the comments from the chat. Yes, Megan and I share another community group, so I will be in touch.
Yes. All right. I just want to make sure I'm trying as much as possible to make sure folks get their question.
I copied the notes.
Sure. All right. Wonderful. All right. So anybody else may have any question? And the panel we have, let me see who else. Miriam, do you have another question?
No.
Because you have your reins up. Yeah. So maybe you want to lower it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, I just wanted to say one thing that I'm actually very curious. I know that when it comes to writing, a lot of folks feel intimidated. And which is, I don't blame folks, because sometimes what you put in writing, you may put your own sentence in writing too, right? And there is no way that you can, necessarily take it back. Well, not necessarily take it back, but it's how you, put your thought in writing with the eloquency that you may do so. So, but my question to you more than anything else is, since this is such like intimidating path, I would say, for those who may want it, but they're just so afraid to start. So I wanted to ask you if there was actually your case before you were starting writing, that you, at that time, that you felt intimidated, like you wasn't sure, like you was even feel like, I don't know if I really want to take that path. So how afraid did you feel, and how did you actually conquer that? Because I think this is very interesting. I'm one of the folks that I feel more comfortable writing than speaking, although I may do my, as a second language, person, so I may do my errors as well, but I feel more comfortable writing than speaking for whatever reason. But I want to hear from you, please.
Well, I was raised by a single mother, the oldest and only daughter, and two younger siblings that were male. So I didn't have anyone to talk to. My mom would come home from work and I would talk, ay, mi mamá, cállate, she's stressed, like I talk too much, right? I would tell her my entire day, from the moment I left my house to the moment my mother came home in the evening. But my stepfather gave me a diary and I kept a diary up until I was in my 20s, and I have them in like 10 notebooks. Right, my biological father from DR would send me the notebooks. If you remember, they have like caricatures on the front, really cute, and he would send them to me, and I would write. And writing was always the best way for me to express my feelings. So when it came to boys, here's a poem. When it came to in Faye, I see that you have a John Jay. I am a John Jay alumni.
Ah, welcome to the family.
And it was in John Jay. Yes. It was in John Jay that I took a creative writing workshop, and my teacher would send me back my stories marked up. because she didn't understand the Dominican nuances that I would share in my stories. And I was highly offended. I said to myself, there has to be other people writing stories like mine. And that's when I found Julia Alvarez and Juno Diaz and whatnot. So I was never, and in 2016, I self-published a book. It's a collection of poetry about love, heartbreak, and moving on. So, and it's for women who get stuck, in within those instances when they break up from a relationship and they don't know how to move on without that person. So, I have never been shy about my writing, but I do know, and I mentor many writers who are terribly afraid of sharing their work. And we have a WhatsApp group of writers. I mentor about 15 women writers currently via WhatsApp group. About a year ago, we hosted the Washington Heights Memoir writing workshop, and we had so many writers join. And I noticed after the workshop ended that they needed guidance. They wanted guidance. They wanted to continue writing and sharing their work, and they just didn't know how to go about it. So what I did was that I opened the doors to my apartment, and they would come here every Sunday and we would write. And I would invite a friend of mine to come and facilitate a writing workshop for the women, aquí sentada en mi sala, very intimate group. And those are one of the things I miss. Due to COVID, I have to close the doors to my apartment. I can't allow people to come in here because my doors are always open to community. People come in here for consulting or, anything that is art related and creative related. It comes through my home. And when COVID hit, that writing group became a virtual writing group that we still host. Is now almost a year and a half that we host these writing workshops on Sundays for the writer who is afraid to write.
Right, afraid to write. Okay. That's so cute.
So anyone could join and take the workshops. We host them bilingually. Every Sunday, a different writer takes turns in teaching the workshop. It is very laid back. We have a elderly woman in her 70s who joins us from California. We have another 2 people that join us from London. We have people from the DR, people in Mississippi, from all over the place who join us every Sunday to write. And it is a space where, you could feel you could just share your work. Don't feel judged. We motivate you to get your words out on paper. One Sunday it could be about poetry. Another Sunday it could be a memoir. So Gabriela, I would invite you to join because, if you're having trouble picking up the pen, sometimes it's difficult to get into the habit of writing. And if you haven't done it in a long time, it's even more difficult to pick up that pen again. But, with these writing workshops, we get you to think about writing differently and maybe explore different ways for you to start writing. Right?
Sorry, this is the other Gabriela. Can I just interrupt for 2 seconds?
Gabriela, hold on, please. She didn't finish her, so let her finish.
We really need to get the interim library on next month's agenda. And I'm sorry, Angela, I think the world of you. You warm my heart. But the library is an important issue, and we need to get it next month's agenda before you go on your summer recess. It really is important. I was told this is the venue, this committee is the venue, and it's very important. I think that we're not paying close enough attention to it, and I'll bring it up in every single committee if need be. If it needs to become the Youth, Education, and Libraries Committee, then so be it. Because this is important, and this is important to Dominicans, and it's important to my community, and it's being brushed aside.
We got the point, but Gabriela, you cannot basically just out of the blue interrupt us, please.
Can you add it to next month's agenda?
Well, I understand, but we also, this is a process. This is not like you come out of, just demanding. No, I understand this is a very important issue, but that's why we having this conversation.
Like apologies, with due respect, it does not seem like it. With due respect.
I understand, but what I'm asking you, I understand, Gabriela, but the thing is that you interrupt our conversation. We didn't finish.
Madam, you have been speaking about this organization, which is wonderful, but this is an important issue. You need to focus on Dominican, really important issues that affect our livelihoods.
Okay, I understand, Gabriela.
Will you add it to the agenda?
I understand, and I thank you.
You can repeat it as much as you like. Will you add it to the agenda, please? The interim library.
Well, we already have many topics already in line, but I will try my best, Gabriela, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
and
sir,
apologies, Angela.
Angela, I'm sorry about the interruption.
It's okay. I totally understand because I can relate with everything that she shared. But yeah, so Faye, I hope
but we need to be respectful to one another. You understand?
I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, absolutely. But actually, when she came into it, you know, sometimes you lose your train of thought, you know. But yeah, basically, what I wanted just to learn from you exactly how exactly you were able to conquer, you know, that feeling and whether or not you felt at that time, you know, like that. So I guess the answer is, I guess I forgot.
Well, I as I mentioned, I haven't been the person to have that fear of sharing my writing, but I do understand I have worked with many writers who have that fear. And I push them. I tell people the worst that could happen is that somebody is going to say no to you or that they don't want to read your stuff. And that's it. You move on. Someone is definitely going to be interested in what you have to say. There's an audience for everyone, believe it or not.
Yes. All right. So let me ask you this question. How can we can possibly help you? And if you can give me an idea that you can envision how our board can help you, that would be sort of like some guidance. So it would be much appreciated.
Sure. I mean, I was starting to collect all the information of the uptown schools because I wanted to email them what it is that we do. And that was going to be part of my aggressive marketing and promotion that I was going to do, have my intern help within the next few months. So yeah, it's a matter of getting, you know, this into our school. Teachers and principals who are interested in having their children read more diverse books and have authors in there. And, you know, we also have a book box, which is called Little Dominican Readers as well. And it's a collection of about 4 books that parents are able to order and share with their children.
Wonderful. Calis, anybody else may have any question for Ms. Abreu? Let's see, someone else is raising their hand. Did you see Carlo, let me see, Carlo Mansueta comments? He said that I use the Inwood Library for reference on computer science books and academic papers. Why don't have a proper library? Yeah, I guess that he followed up on Gabriela comments more than anything else. So let's see who else. Do we have another question here that I can possibly bring? Let's see. Well, Yolanda already provided her contact information. So yes, I'm sorry that, you know, I was distracted. Would you mind, Alice, I'm sorry, would you mind just repeating the last sentence that you said? Ms. Abreu.
To read which sentence?
No, when I ask you about how can we possibly help you?
Oh, just getting the information to the schools that, you know, we're out here, we provide Dominican literary programming, and if anyone is interested, you know, reach out to us.
All right. Well, I think it would be very interested if we can take the route to start with District 6, because I think make them aware, especially the schools, principals, teachers, especially starting maybe a high school level or middle school, maybe, yeah, I would say maybe if we can start 7th, 8th grade and up. So, and we can probably share any of your events where they can participate. I think that would be lovely. That would be a good start. So at least to make them aware of the existence of your organization, educate them and what is the goal, what you do, and the willingness to help them. Because I'm sure that a lot of kids at early age, they already feel inclined to go into writing, but they are still in the bush, or the bushes, I should say, because they don't know how to start. And maybe in a casual Sunday or in any of those events that you put together, perhaps they will have the opportunity to have an encounter with you person to person, or even virtual, given, you know, the circumstances of the COVID, that most of the things are virtual now. But at least if the opportunity to is given, you know, to them, that they can see you, they can talk to you, and they can ask comfortably, you know, any questions that they may have, I think that would be a good start for them. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you. So I guess that we're ready to move. If nobody else may have any other question, let's see. All right. I think this is it. So nothing, Angela. I wanted to thank you. Oh, here it is. I think Megan Bernes is thanking Miss Abreu and the chat, and we need to move forward. So you can see it, Angela, right?
Yes,
You
I
can
see,
see
I see the chat.
you can see
Yes.
it, right? Yes. And Carlo was the last one, I guess, the last chat that we have. Let's see something here. Panelist attend. There is actually a question saying that can we add interim library to the next month again? Oh, that's a question that Ali asking. Well, we will try. All right. So Gabriela, I think we only have you, and we also have Waldi. Waldi, you have no questions? You've been silent, Waldis.
Yeah, I've been silent today. Sorry. But yeah, no, everything's,
It's all right.
I have no questions at this time.
All right. We all, you know, we understand and respect that. All right. I guess next time. All right, guys. So let's move forward. Ms. Abreu, I want to thank you deeply, you know, for your time. I'm sure that this is not going to be the only time that we're going to have this encounter. I look forward to see you more often and doing perhaps other things, other work for the community, and bring you to the spotlight of the community so our students, our young people, you know, get to know you. I will do my best, definitely. And perhaps personally, I may join one of your, you know, your activity or your clubs. So let's talk about it, and perhaps we may have a conversation over the phone sometime soon.
Yes, thank you. We have a workshop on Sunday. Please join us, Sunday at 11.
Thank you. Maybe Gabriela also will join you as well, as you just said.
Thank
I
you
think
so
that would
much.
be a good thing. Yes, yes.
There's two
All
Gabriela.
right.
We
So,
have two away.
Gabriela Estrella.
Which I completely identify with my tocaya, with the other Gabriela, definitely, 100%.
all right. So I guess then that we will be moving forward. You're welcome to stay the same way I also told Yolanda Rodriguez. Let's bring our next guests on the new and old business. I always see the opportunity for folks to, you know, to how do you call, to interact. So as we, you know, allow them to speak, so we can learn from them as well. So just let's go into new and old business section or phase of the agenda. So I would like to introduce Anastasia Darkowski. Anastasia, the floor is yours, please. Welcome to you know, our youth education program. Anastasia is the representative and for the volunteer project in Riverside Park at Fort Washington, but more information you will hear from her. So Ms. Galkowski, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm usually at the Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee, so this is my first time here. This conversation has been super compelling and inspiring to listen in on, so thank you for having me. I'll keep it short and sweet, you guys. So yeah, I'm from Riverside Park Conservancy, but we do take care of the park from 59th Street all the way up to 181st Street. So we take care of the shoreline portion of Fort Washington Park as well. I'm a volunteer coordinator, and I wanted to come by today to let you guys know that we are hosting group projects out in the park at this point. They're small. We're not yet ready to, for COVID reasons, we're not yet ready to do, you know, like open community calls just yet for like everyone come through, let's do a trash cleanup, or everyone come through, we're weeding. We're not quite there, but we are hosting organized groups in the park. And a lot of our partners are community organizations. I'm looking to partner more with schools, ideally. Would love to partner with public schools, especially, but all schools, of course. Right now, we have one school from the Heights on the calendar, the Community Health Academy of the Heights at 158th in Amsterdam, I believe. So they're going to come out, I think, late May, early June, to do some weeding, some invasive plant removal. But I figured I would just come to this meeting, introduce myself, say hello, and let you know that we are seeking to host groups of students in the park this spring, this summer, next year. And of course, with the vaccine rollout, things will start looking better in terms of group size. So we will be able to host bigger groups and larger groups as we always have in the past. So yeah, I'm just looking to start getting those partnerships cooking. And it is, I feel, a bit complicated. And yeah, it's been complicated because every school has its own thing going in terms of like remote learning, what students are there, how many students are coming in. So it's been tricky to navigate, but I figured I'd introduce myself and let you know. And if you have a community group or a club that you're affiliated with, or you know a student who is affiliated and you think would be a good match, please reach out to me. I'm going to put my email in the chat.
Good.
And then the other announcement I have for you guys is we are accepting applications for our Teen Core program, which is I think it's 6 weeks. Hold on, I'm going to tell you the dates. It is from July 6th through August 26th. It's for kids who are coming into their freshman year of high school to kids who have just graduated from their senior year of high school. We're having a small cohort this year of eight students. And applications are open. So I'm gonna put that in the chat too. And what Teen Core is a program where the students come out twice a week. They work directly with one of our gardeners, one of our trained horticulturalists, especially in habitat restoration at the woodland area and the pollinator meadow, which are at 120th. I know that's a little bit south of where you guys are, but I figured I'd put the application link in the chat just in case you know a student who's super ecologically focused or would want a gig. It is paid and it's an internship, so it's a really great way. Make a little extra bank in the summer for a teenager while also learning and doing hands-on work outside, getting fresh air. It's like a win-win-win. We usually have a larger cohort. This year it's a little smaller, but we would love to see applications from the community. So that's my speech. If anyone has any questions about the park and what we're doing out there and want to learn more or become a volunteer, please reach out to me. My email's in the chat. Again, if you know a school affiliation or a student organization of any sort that you think would be a good match to come out in the park, even just for a one-off project to feel it out and see if we can build something more recurring from there, reach out to me. Thank you all so much. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Members, do you have any question? Let's see in the chat if we have any question. How about board members? Do we have any board members? Let's see. Maybe the attendees. Let's see. No questions. Okay, I do have a question. So let me ask you a question. So let's say volunteers, student just volunteer sign up. How long is the volunteer program once they they sign up for program. When they sign up, did you retain them just for a particular project, or they just remain volunteer for the organization as long as they want to stay as a volunteer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now I'm seeking to introduce myself to schools, get connected, and logistically, I think the way we would start it out, especially at this point in the season, is just schedule a sort of almost field trip, go one-off project, see how it goes, and if there's interest and if the students enjoyed it and the teacher found it constructive, I'm absolutely looking to have recurring partners, probably for the next school year, for the fall 2021 to spring 2022, the course of that year, to do hopefully like recurring school groups, kind of using, I don't know, in my head, I think of, the park as a classroom in itself. So I would love to partner with like science teachers, stuff like that, to do recurring projects and have the students see a space change over time. And, have there's so many conversations and writing inspirations and writing prompts that could happen just from spending time in a specific focus area of the park. I'm totally ranting because I love this stuff, but yeah, to answer your question, I'm open to either one-off field trips, which would probably be realistic for the timeline that we're working with and just our staff capacity for this year. And then also hopefully recurring projects that the students can even get, like organize a club for, something like that is what I have in mind. But we're kind of starting from zero right now in Fort Washington. So I'm really open to anything.
All right.
Did that help?
And another question that I think it would be helpful also to know, volunteer, I wonder, did you provide for the volunteer any kind of incentive or not necessarily, so?
Like
volunteer? Well, any kind of incentive, because sometimes organization, they recruit volunteers, but at the end of the day, what they can come up with any kind of incentive, it could be, I don't know, anything that you can think of in like a token of appreciation for the time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, this is kind of lame, I feel like, but we do have shirts, which I don't think is a real intrinsically valuable incentive. But we do have shirts. I mean, for students, I imagine it would be really neat if we could establish some kind of program with schools where they got credits for class for doing park work. I think that would be amazing. I don't know if that would run into issues with the bureaucracy of the DOE or how that could look. But that to me would make sense for students, especially high school students too, that are looking, to do college applications and want to have a resume building. So that is kind of where my mind goes in terms of youth. The other incentive, I guess, isn't as easily articulated, which is just the joy of being outside and being in the park and caring for your local green space as a mutually beneficial relationship. But that's a great question because we don't really have a tangible incentive that we're offering or anything clear cut in the program right now.
Well, it doesn't hurt to ask the question, but I know that it's important too, because throughout my career and even, volunteer myself on many occasions and many organizations. And this is something that I really have done it for many years and out of my, my heart. But I have noticed that a lot of organizations, sometimes they not even offer a Metro card for the students. And sometimes the students have to, hit their pockets, come to their parents. If someone is volunteered, I think that at least a Metro card would be helpful, since they are, and I'm not imposing or want to sound like I'm imposing. I just give you an idea, because if besides, like you said, it's a good things that they can show in the resume, or that you give them a t-shirt. But I think that, imagine a student that may volunteer twice in a month or in a week. You may have a volunteer who might be very poor and cannot even afford, or God knows what they have to sacrifice to be, just to attend to, and to look good and you know, throughout the volunteer process. But I think that many organizations, and this is not necessarily you, but anyone that who might be seeing this video in the future, I really urge many organizations who wants and expect and are recruiting volunteers that I they consider it to give volunteers a Metro card, because we are in a very tough time. And even if we not, but if you volunteer, I think that at least a Metro card would be something helpful. If the organization, of course, can afford it. If they cannot, they cannot. But there's so many ways and be, you know, creative. But I think it's also a way to say, you know, we appreciate your time, and we want to go the extra mile, and at least allow me to provide you with a Metro card so you can get here. Just I thought.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I don't know if we have the bandwidth budget-wise to do that. We have hundreds of volunteers. But that's a really good point. Thank you.
I don't expect that you answer that question because, you know, but it's just giving you an idea, you know, but equally important. So bottom line in here, in your announcement. So I think you would be more interested to put you in contact with teachers. Is that correct? Teachers?
Yes, that would be great. Or
starting at which grade you?
Or principals, yeah. But directly with teachers, I think would be kind of a great way to start. They can tailor the activity to fit what they're talking about with their students, and it would just be more personal and more detailed in planning.
Which starting at which grade you are more interested to speak? Because I can put you in contact, let's say with kindergarten, which is unrealistic, but just to say something. You probably wanted to put you in contact with 5th grade, 7th grade, high school. So what is exactly like your goal in that turn? What would be ideal for you?
Yeah, again, all ages are welcome. 5's a little young, but I think that the target age group, probably 6 through 12, 6th grade through 12.
6 to 12?
Yeah. And I'm open to changing that. You guys are the experts here on this committee. So if you think of better, like a smaller range, but I don't know, I think high schoolers are starting to really sort of hone their interests in a way and think about maybe college or stuff like that. And they're in, you know, a phase of self-discovery. So maybe some of them are starting to get into ecology in a more academic way. I mean, that this generation that's coming up right now has grown up in the reality of climate change too. So I'm sure it's top of mind for them just by being the age that they are growing in the world that they're growing in. But yeah, I think 6 through 12 is a good start.
6 to 12 and up. All right, but 6 to 12, yes. And I asked the question is to, so I can be more direct and more focused exactly in what you need, because I may have an idea, but the fact that my colleagues, and even the entitled board may have an idea what would be good for you may not necessarily be, because every organization has its own goals, you know, or goals, plural, and they know exactly what is it that they want to target. It's a reason for you to approach to us and tell us how we can help. So that's why I'm asking that kind of question, just to make sure exactly what is it that you want and in which way we can materialize your desire, you know, your needs. And I know helping you is helping our student at the same time. So yeah, so you already said from 6 to 12, that would be ideal. So I will focus on that and perhaps, you know, come up with some introductions.
Wow,
Yes.
that would be excellent. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Right now, like I said, with the season and the capacity that we have staff-wise, it would just be probably like one-off field trips to get a connection going and feel it out and see how the students liked it, and then have that on like in our minds and our memories for next fall to start talking about maybe can we make this a thing? Can we get the students out?
All right.
So thank you.
So anything else that you finally would like to add it up before we conclude your presentation? I mean, not presentation, excuse me, your announcement.
I think that is it right now. Again, my email's in the chat and the Teen Core program applications in the chat. So please do share it with your network and with any students that you think might be interested. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Callis, do you have any questions? All right. I guess that this is it. So I wanted also to share then, Ms. Darkowski, thank you again. Yes, yes, I wanted just to share a brief announcement. It's under development, but I understand that we may see an expansion of the CUNY college here. Perhaps there is a possibility that they're going to be extended, the campus. So around 219th Street. So this is something that is still under development. We don't have an official announcement yet, but tentatively, there is a great possibility that CUNY is going to be expanded in our community, which I think is a great thing. If this really, if this project, this idea materialize. Yes. So I guess that before we conclude our meeting, I just want to give the opportunity to you, Callis. Anybody have any comment, any announcements? So this is the time to do so, please. Gabriel, I guess that Miriam, do you have any comment? Waldy, do you have any comments?
No comment. No comment from me.
Okay. And Waldy, you had no comment as well. All right. All right. So being that case, what else do I would like to share with you? The event for our annual event for Youth and Police Building Bridges is still far away. So you know that we've been signing on that project, but there is a great possibility that we may retake the conversation again pretty soon. And before June, we should have some, some ideas. As you know, every May, the third Saturday of every year in May, we have the Youth and Police Building Bridges initiative. But unfortunately, due to the COVID and all the turmoil that we've been facing, we have not been able to have that event. But there is a great possibility that we may have it in fall. In the last planning committee meeting that we had, we decided that perhaps late September or early October might be we will retake the initiative again. So I just wanted to, I want to make sure that this will go on record, and let's see then what happens. So I want to thank you all for joining us, members of the public, committee members, board members, if there's any still. So thank you very much, Gabriela. Thank you for the stay, and Waldy and Miriam as well. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that the rest of our colleagues, have not been able to attend today. I want to say in record that Paradise, our young member, I spoke to her today. She said, unfortunately, there are some situation, with the school. It's a lot of work, and that preventing her for being more, engaged into our meeting. But she hopefully will resume her responsibility with us and come back. So thank you all. And I guess this is it. So meeting is going to adjourn. May I have a second?
A second. A second.
Thank you, Miriam. All right. So thank you all again. And thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Gabriela, Abiel, and Carlos Mansueta, and other folks that have joined us. Thank you, and we will follow up. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 8:56. Thank you. Good night.